Thanks for coming to our talk on client-agency partnerships, and thank you to everyone online who's tuning in. Kreshnik, do you want to get us started with some intros?
Yeah, so my name is Kreshnik Beqi. I'm the founder of Beqi, Webflow premium partner. You can call me Kiku. It's like a shorter, maybe easier. I've been in love with Webflow for 11 years, so people around me call me OG, so I'm pretty old here. And fun fact is I met these guys when there were only 5 people in the office, and I flew from New York here just to meet them because I loved Webflow when I found it. I used to be a designer back then, and I could design my own website. I didn't need engineering anymore. They didn't do a great job for me, so I really loved the idea to come in. You know, what Webflow kind of gave me. Back then was just one page. That's all you can build, nothing else, but I still loved it. And I was another other fun facts is because I was the first template designer for the Webflow marketplace. That was maybe my last one, and then I just continued working with clients. I've been working with since then. I've kind of worked with all types of clients, very small startups, one-person kind of startups, and through the years working with pretty big enterprises, and I've kind of seen it all through it. One thing that I want to mention is that I kind of always tell everybody, which is part of this talk as well, like how do we empower marketing teams or companies, and through ourselves and Webflow, is I want to say something about Loom. Loom came into Webflow right before they exploded, right before COVID. And we built a site for them, resources. They loved it. They really liked they came from a headless CMS, so they saw how easy it was to update, maintain, and so on. And they were, at that point, they were seeing a lot of traction. So Webflow came right at the best time for them. And because they loved the experience, because we empowered them to add hundreds of resources very quickly at that time, the Loom CEO left me a very good Loom video of testimonial, and from that video, OpenPhone found me. And so I always say to everybody, always do the best job that you can do, because you never know what's going to happen after the testimonial. And that Loom testimonial gave us a lot of good confidence and trust in the market. So,
thanks, Kreshnik. My name is John McGaffey. I am a senior growth marketing manager at OpenPhone. OpenPhone is the best way to collaboratively manage calls, texts, and contacts with your team. It brings all those into a really intuitive and delightful app that works on all of your devices. So it's an entire business phone system in your existing devices. I've been with the company now for almost 3 years, and prior to that, worked for a circus school just outside of Chicago doing ops and growth for them. I am a little biased when I say that OpenPhone is the most delightful business phone out there, but I feel like I can walk the talk a little bit because I actually was a customer first and rolled out OpenPhone to my prior employer. During my time at OpenPhone, I've worn a lot of hats. I, of course, have helped manage the website. I've run a ton of experiments across it. I started our affiliate program, and today I'm primarily responsible for our marketing ops and lifecycle. Today we'll be chatting about how agencies can empower marketing teams to deliver best-in-class website experiences. Kreshnik's going to start by discussing how he works with clients to maximize his value as an agency in helping them reach their marketing goals. And from there, we'll talk through OpenPhone's case study, how we started off with just an initial test of one landing page before ultimately migrating our entire site over to Webflow. Lastly, we'll wrap things up with a quick discussion around automation and testing and the ways in which our partnership with Kreshnik helps us maintain a really high-performing site in Webflow.
All right, so I was, through the years, I understood that what was important for, at least for the companies I worked with or Beqi worked with, was speed. Everything was around speed. companies want to go very quick into market. They want to come into Webflow, go live very quickly. They want to send their products out very quickly. They want to check the market and iterate very quickly and so on. So everything to me was like, okay, it's all about speed. And at the same time, I understood that they come to us because they want to give that responsibility to an agency. They want everything to be taken care of. And the expertise that we bring to the table, they understand the expertise that we bring to the table very quickly once we bring them into Webflow. So we show what we can do very quickly with past clients. We bring them in with tests, and then we teach them how everything works. So we prepare them to launch products very quickly. Now, faster time to market. Like this is, I would say, the most important thing. Of course, putting the product out there very quickly, responding to market trends, customer needs, and sometimes beating competitors to market. They offer something quicker than the competitors. And of course, opportunities that come through capitalizing on time-sensitive opportunities that come every time, all the time. The next one is, I would say, flexibility, right? Easy testing. We offer them easy testing, try new concepts, quickly adjust to customer feedback. This is important as well. They come back and say, all right, we understood that we need to change this, and they change it. Adapt to change on the market conditions for sure. All right, this is another important one. I would say after speed, this is very important for companies. Most of the clients who come in, they were like, listen, we don't want to take away the marketing website from our engineering. They are very expensive. We don't want them to spend time changing buttons and adding blog posts. We want them to work on our application. So they come into Webflow. They see that the cost lowers dramatically, even though they hire an agency, because engineering is very expensive, as we know, and the time it takes them to actually update the site. So the cost goes lower. The marketing team actually owns the website now, the marketing website, which is their most important tool. And we provide all their services for them without them needing to kind of reach out to engineering. Of course, user experience. Everything changes while you can deliver quickly and you can test things quickly, right? So marketing teams can put product out there or pages out there. They can test it out. And the user experience, the conversion changes because they know exactly now what needs to be done through all the testing that we can provide. And of course, online visibility, greater online visibility because you can blitz the market with Webflow CMS and especially AI now, like you can build hundreds of pages very quickly and you can increase your search engine rankings and so on, organic traffic and so on. Okay, so what Webflow brings. We kind of all know what Webflow brings, but I just wanted to talk very quickly a little bit about it. The CMS system, it's awesome. Our customers use it a lot. That's, I would say, the most used thing that we do all day. We build CMS, set up CMSs for the marketing teams so they can blitz the market with hundreds of pages for whatever product they want to kind of advertise or sell or anything like that. A/B testing, of course, is getting much easier now with Optimize. Collaboration, we kind of work together into Webflow and update the site very frequently. Design customization and so on. We all know how great Webflow is, and it's been great for all of us. All right, so I would say let's start with the case study of Beqi and OpenPhone.
Sure. So prior to Webflow, maintaining our site was extremely challenging. It was developed internally by our front-end web dev team, and that meant resources were shared between product and marketing. You don't need me to tell you that that was a challenging situation to be in. So here's our old process. We'd create a Notion task for the development team. From there, they'd pick it up and create a linear ticket in order to slot it into their flow. From there, we'd work to find the dev resources to actually code the page. After that, we'd QA and finally publish the site. And if it was a page that we expected to need to make changes to frequently, on the copy side, we'd have them build out a CMS backend as well for us so that we could drop in no-code changes there. So when we approached Kreshnik, we were looking to solve 3 problems. Despite having an amazing engineering team, it was slow to create new pages and make changes to them, and it was expensive and difficult to scale all of that.
So of course, when they reached out to us, I didn't know the way that they were actually building the site. I kind of understood a little bit because of the experience, and a lot of customers do. Our clients have kind of the same thing once they come into Webflow. But basically, in my mind, they were like very slow, like to update anything, to create new pages. So I understood that the site was slow. So of course, very, very important for us. We respond very quickly to the email. We got in the meeting, and of course, prior to it, we search about the company. We try to learn like what's wrong with the website, why they're trying to come to Webflow, and of course, we listened. And in the beginning, it was hard to get information from these guys. It's like, hey, we just want a landing page, nothing more, and it started that way. And now. What we always consider the first iteration, the first thing that we do with a company as a test. They're testing Webflow itself, and they're testing the agency or the freelancer or whoever is going to build the site. So in our side, we say, okay, this is the first time they're going to see like how they're going to empower the marketing team. This is the first time they're going to understand how Webflow works. So we have to kind of teach them, even though it's just a landing page. It's not just a landing page, because this is a test for all of us. So we were hyper-responsive, solved the problem, told them some solutions that, even though it was just a landing page, like changes that we can make so it's quicker, loads quicker, and so on. And they loved it. And they understood, okay, Webflow, and it's something else. It's not connected, it's not related to where we were before. And basically the empowerment of the marketing team start like flowing, like going to the leap, frog leap. John?
I'm not the first person at this conference to say that your website is your #1 most important marketing asset. And it really became clear to us early on that Webflow was a vastly superior way for us to maintain and expand the site. And creating new pages went from taking weeks in some case to just days with Kreshnik's help. We immediately built up a lot of trust in Kreshnik for all of the reasons that he previously described around his responsiveness and the level of ownership he took over our site. And he was embedded in Slack with us in a way that made him feel like a really natural extension of our team, which is something that we really value with any kind of like agency or contractor partner that we have.
So yeah, the decision was made. These guys wanted to kind of migrate their current website into Webflow, which is usually a lot of the first step that they just migrate their site rather than just rebuild it. Even though for us, we're building from scratch anyway, so it's not a big difference. So OpenPhone start noticing how quick we can build pages. And we can iterate or make changes and so on. This was kind of different for them because they hadn't experienced this before, so the marketing team started getting excited. Now they kind of understood that maybe we can do a lot more about this. So we did the migration. It was a one-on-one migration, even though we kind of made changes, and you should always, I would say, at least offer to make changes and make a better site, even though it's a one-on-one migration. And at that time, and like all other sites, everything we build with the idea that it's going to be changed frequently, it's going to be updated frequently, so all the setup needs to be done that way. And it was. And everything was fine. But very quickly, these guys were like, OK, now we see how Webflow works, see how quickly we can update everything. We're going to redesign completely the site. So, all right, that was great news for us. And we want to take them to the bunny level. And all right, so we talked to the designers. I would say the first and the most important thing that we always do is the style system, and talk to the designers, talk about with them how they can actually design it and improve from their current design and going forward. I think everything is connected to the style system. Even though all of the updates that Webflow is bringing in, easy for the marketers to build pages and so on, everything is connected to it. If you don't have a great style system, of course, it's not designed, it's not built to be manipulated or updated very quickly, built with components and so on, everything else is going to be difficult later on. So we talked to them, the style system was done, the components were built, and of course, all the CMS pages, product solution pages, compare pages. So these guys basically start building hundreds of static pages and bringing in thousands of CMS items. And of course, integrating with third-party tools like Zapier and Google Tag Manager and so on. But the focus here, the thing that I want you guys to know a little bit, to know more is, I really stubborn on the style system. It's once we build that system in the way that we can, it was supposed to be built, and with all the components that make all the pages, the designers know exactly what to do on new pages because they all have that system. We know exactly what to do when that design comes in, so we can build pages now in a day, in 5 hours, in 2 days, in 3 days. So what happened is these guys understood that, all right, this shouldn't be a one-off thing. Maybe we should talk to Beqi and Crash and say, you know what, you can keep going with us, come in as an ongoing partnership, and because we see the value, right? We show them that, yeah, you can build very quickly. Sometimes my other friends that own agencies are like, well, I'm not going to show them the secret how quick we can build. And I'm completely different. I was like, no, show them, because they're going to hire you to build more pages. It's a lot less expensive for them to be with you because you know how to do it and so on, rather than for you to keep the secret out there. And that's what happened. They understood that everything could be built quicker, cheaper, and we built hundreds of pages that way. Now, becoming an ongoing partner, this is another thing here. Matt from 80/20 told me this a long time ago. I was like, dude, just ask them. Because most of the companies, they don't know, first of all, that you offer it. And second is that they don't know that, yeah, they can keep you in, like an in-house, but outside their company. And if they value you or your company, they will keep you in. And it's been great for us. Ongoing partnerships and monthly kind of retainers has been great for the agency. So because we kind of help them grow, and they grow, we grow. The marketing team grew while we were there because they saved money. I'm guessing they hired other people, or because they understood that they can now build a lot more and a lot faster. Stay connected. We always stay connected. We use Slack a lot now, even though Notion is coming in. But always stay connected. Be present with them. There's always something to fix. So hoping for OpenPhone or for every other kind of company out there and client out there, Webflow Analyze and Optimize will be a game changer as well, a new service that we can add on. And I think, maybe we can go here with that.
If there's one thing that you take away from this particular case study, it is just how important Kreshnik serving as a really natural extension of our team has been to us. I think when thinking about how to solve a particular business problem, I'm personally a little biased towards trying to hire or find the resources internally in order to solve it, only because you are able to find someone with just like a much higher level of ownership over the problem, and that person, by virtue of being embedded in your team, just has a lot more context that can inform a whole range of decisions, whether it's some like back-end ops thing or customer-facing marketing copy. However, I think Kreshnik and his team have been very much an exception to this rule. Having someone who is a deep expert in Webflow and has been working with the platform since its infancy means that we don't have to think about the logistics of how to implement whatever our design team can dream up. And it frees us up to focus more on the strategy of what we want to present on those pages and how we want our positioning as a company to be reflected there.
So yeah, after we empower the marketing team, right? Now they can build faster, quicker, and better. There is no, all the time most of the time there is failures, right? One of the failures I want to talk about is because we were so used of making changes, building the page, and clicking publish, because we trust Webflow and us so much through this. OpenPhone came in and was like, listen, we want to add some security scripts. I was like, for sure. It's a 1 second thing. I can add it. We publish, all good. So I did. I published, and I didn't check the site at all in staging. And of course, everything went live. I closed my laptop and I went. Actually, I was in vacation, so I just went and I'm guessing it was maybe I got a drink or something. And didn't look at my phone for like 30 minutes. I opened my phone. Of course, these guys were talking in Slack. Hey, what happened? What happened? I was like, what happened? Like I just published, just a script, right? So I went back. All images inside were gone. Even some fonts were gone because the security script blocked basically every URL. It wasn't like it was connected to the site. Webflow, as good as it is, I just went in, deleted it, and published again. Everything went back to normal, like nothing crazy. But those 30 minutes for these guys were not great, and for us, for sure. So I want to say that want to say two things. You get used to how good Webflow is and how quick you can make things. At the same time, now we know better. We have to especially security scripts are always now as a process, and we have to check everything. But this shows how good Webflow is and how good it is for us as agencies, how quick we can respond from the actually adding the script, but actually fixing the problem. So, of course, if I was online, it would be just maybe a 30-second thing to fix it, but it shows both sides. At least for me, it was an eye-opener. Yeah, I've been working so long with Webflow, but I sometimes have to stop and still check the staging link first. And of course, there are successes. Most of it is a success, right? On our side, as an agency, we consider a success working with OpenPhone and other clients that we see that they rely on us and they consider us as experts, and they know that once the job comes to us, it's going to be done. It's going to look great. It's going to work. We rely on Webflow for the same things. We know if we do it and we publish it, it's going to work. It's not going to break. There's no big surprises. Mm-hmm. And of course, in our relationship, hopefully everything is going okay still. I built, as I said, hundreds of static pages, 1,350 CMS items, and this is not including the blog posts. And very quickly, turnaround times, style system, which I love, that we can basically build very quickly and reuse components and so on. So that's a success for us on our side.
Absolutely. Yeah, and from our perspective, we wanted to make sure that the new site performed at least as well as the old one. As you can imagine, it's always a little nerve-wracking to rip out the backbone of your number one most important marketing asset. And throughout the migration, we saw that the overall conversion rate from visitor to paid was up at the end of that migration compared to the beginning. Of course, there's a lot of variables that go into that, like fluctuating traffic and audiences during that time. But what that showed us was there was no underlying technical issue in the platform that was going to like tank our SEO or otherwise like negatively impact our performance. And the sort of like failure slide that Kreshnik mentioned is an example of something that is like very few and far between. For the most part, things have been extremely stable. But I think it's also worth dwelling on that briefly, because if your team has decided that your primary goal is to move quickly and develop your website fast, then there are costs associated with that. You have to probably like either hire an expert internally or hire out to an agency. Neither of those options are cheap. And there's also just the cost of like sometimes mistakes happen when you're moving that quickly. And I think for us, we have found the right balance for the stage that our company is at as still like a relatively early startup and continue to sort of withhold the natural instinct maybe to like add some additional red tape to our process just to keep that lightweight so that we can continue moving quickly. So here's a look at our workflow after migrating to Webflow. As you can see, this is a much more minimalist slide than the previous workflow you saw. We just create a task in our Notion tracker for Kreshnik. He builds it out, and then we QA and publish it in Webflow. So it's just such a breath of fresh air as a team to be able to know that when we make a request of our developer that we can expect that to be done within hours or days, depending on the size of the task. So once our site was in Webflow, that unlocked us to do a whole lot more with the site. A modern website is not just like a 5-page brochure site for a startup. It's all of your blog posts and SEO pages, and on top of all of that, you want to be able to automate building that site out as much as possible, as well as test what you've published to make sure that your content is as high performing as possible. And so one of the ways we've done this is by setting up an automation that allows us to publish new pages automatically whenever we create a new Stripe coupon. So when we sponsor a podcast or when we partner with someone and we want to extend a discount to that audience, we have to set up that discount in Stripe. And with the help of Zapier, we're able to take any coupon in Stripe that we've tagged with a particular type in the metadata field, and we're able to pull that into Webflow automatically through the Zap that you see here. So all we're doing there is we're parsing the type field in that metadata to identify which kind of landing page that coupon should be associated with, and it publishes a new CMS item in the appropriate collection. So here's an example of one of those pages. We sponsor the This Week in Startups podcast. And you can see here we pulled the name of the podcast from the coupon name in Stripe. And so by setting up these kinds of workflows, it allows the site to become this sort of like living, breathing, natural extension of the marketing team, and also allows us to eliminate the need for all of that like manual data entry. And so if you're a company looking to scale podcast spend and need to build out like maybe dozens of landing pages at a time for all of the various podcasts you're sponsoring, having something like this in place allows you to make those sponsorships without having someone to spend a whole afternoon on the grunt work of like creating all of those landing pages. And if you're an agency, I'd really encourage you to consider advising clients on areas they might be able to automate their site's growth in this way. In addition to helping us scale with the CMS templates that power that automation, Kreshnik's agency support also empowers us to iterate really quickly through website experiments. Of course, the real value of experimentation is building up this body of knowledge over time that informs future design decisions just based on the lessons from all of those past experiments. And by working with Webflow and an agency, we're able to take what we learn from those experiments and immediately apply them to the website. So rather than having to take that and like go through that whole old process to submit a request to the engineering team, we're able to roll out those lessons from our conversion rate testing across the entire site, like virtually overnight. And so that's another way where Webflow's value really shines here. And recently, our work on conversion rate optimization led to a double-digit increase in our conversion rate on our homepage after applying all the lessons that we had built up from those tests to a full redesign. Now, we could have applied those lessons through the old workflow as well in that new homepage, but we were able to get it out the door just like so much faster and start delivering those results a lot earlier.
All right, so one thing that I want to like kind of be as a conclusion is I always think that companies that come into Webflow, especially the new ones that have not used it before, want to know that we are reliable. As agencies or Webflow itself is reliable for them. Most of the time they're coming for something that they don't like. So they want to come in and be kind of know that everything will be taken care of. Another thing is be fast. That's the most important, one of the most important things and one of the main reasons why clients come in, and that's OpenPhone as well. Hey, we want to go fast to market, we want to build faster, we want to expand our marketing team to have the power to, if they want to do something, want to try something, want to test something, it should be easy for them to do it. And of course, for this to happen, the setup that you need to do on Webflow as developers or agencies or freelancers needs to be so it's easy for them and for you later on to actually give them this power. And bring solutions. Especially working with these guys for so long, we always think as well, how do we kind of bring new solutions to them? How do we fix things that are maybe not working as they're supposed to be working? How do we kind of talk to the design team and say, listen, this is not part of the system. It's going to be maybe slower, or it's going to slow us down and you down and so on. So always start come back and bring solutions to the companies, bring value back to them, and keep showing them how Webflow works, what it's new in Webflow. Like for example, the optimizer, like we talked a little bit, and it was like, yeah, we may be interested or not. Other companies may be interested as well. So always show them new technology, what's coming in, because they may want to use it. Most of the times they use it and because they trust Webflow and trust that we can deliver.
Our experience working with Webflow and Kreshnik has made it clear to me that it's an absolute no-brainer for companies to be on Webflow with an agency partner to help them build out and maintain that site, especially if your company is still on the smaller side. And it's hard to imagine maintaining a website any other way today. So, yeah.
That's it.
That's all we got for you. We'd love to open the floor up now for any questions that folks have.
Hi, I just wondered if you had any best practices for a QA process or workflow. Like, is it just a matter of going through all the static pages as well as like one of each CMS template page? Or is there a more like robust kind of workflow that you've come up with to make sure everything looks good before publish?
Yeah, this has been like difficult to actually add a process into it because all clients are different. They kind of require different things. One thing that I noticed that it helps us is going back to like if you're building a lot of the site with components and the style is there and the designers know exactly and use the same style that you're kind of building, it's the QA. It's very easy, right? You can go in those style systems or go into those pages and you know that, hey, if it works here, it's going to work there for sure. Said that, there are occasions that we have to go through 160 pages, static pages, one by one, because we didn't build that particular component in a way that it was supposed to be built. Or there are other ways that maybe a component they have three or four different components kind of saying the same thing. That's another, you have to go through all those. A robust system, it's very difficult in my mind to do, but I don't know, I trust Webflow so much, and I trust that we build the right way, like the first time that we do it. So the QA it's been proven that it's very kind of easy for us, and going live it's much easier once you have this kind of set up first.
I would add that QAing starts even before you've started development, because through the use of components and even the new marketer permission role that Webflow announced yesterday, there's a lot you can do in advance to sort of minimize the ways in which the site can break by either restricting how many people have access to it, or by componentizing everything in a way that keeps things consistent throughout the site. And then when you are ready to publish changes, I would say it is still pretty manual. It's just loading the page on the staging site, making sure it looks good, also checking mobile, just in case anything pops up there.
I'm just curious if you could share a little bit more about how you first got connected and what gave you the confidence to move forward with that partnership before that first landing page experiment.
I asked our co-founder earlier this week what that early conversation was like, and she basically said oh, Kreshnik is just OG Webflow. He did Loom's site. He looked great. Yeah. So that was our perspective. He was he built Loom's website. So if he's good enough for Loom, he's good enough for us, I think.
That's why I started with Loom. She right away told me, hey, I just, as soon as I saw John's testimonial, I was like, okay, it's done. So that's why I would say it's very important. And I would say maybe we got at least eight clients just from that testimonial early on, even though it's not a recent testimonial. But it's very important. That taught me, I was like, okay, I need another Loom testimonial, right? I need another. So it kind of keeps building that way. At the same time, going back to it, they kind of trust you until, hey, let's see what they can do with the landing page, right? That's the test. And once they kind of understood how we work and what Webflow does, it was easier to bring them in and kind of show them, all right, you can bring the entire site here. And this has happened with a lot of other kind of companies. I always start with hey, we just need this landing page, and they kind of come back if they see the value in it.
A question from when you transitioned over to Webflow, was there any pushback from internal development team members? And if so, how did you manage that?
There was no pushback from our engineering team that I'm aware of. I think internally as a marketing team, we were pretty concerned about SEO. And so I think there was some technical conversations that occurred around the implications there.
What I want to add a little bit to it is that usually they love the idea that they're not going to kind of build the site or work on the site anymore. Usually. There's been occasions that they want to own it, but the marketing side should be owned by the marketing team. So it should be kind of that way. And they are expensive, so they should be working on more kind of the application itself rather than changes on the marketing side.
Thanks for coming today.
Thank you so much, guys.
Hope you all have a great rest of your day in conference.